Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I was going to do a get ready with me / Q&A video, but it is really hard to multitask and I tried to start doing it and it just wasn't working out very well. So I'm just going to do a Q&A. So a few days ago I did one of the ask me something things on Instagram and had y'all ask me some questions that I could answer for this video. So I'm going to go through some of them and we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Okay, so the first question is, are you named after anyone? My name has nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar. I get that literally all the time. Like when I meet new people, I'm like, hey, I'm Kendrick. And they're like, oh, like Kendrick Lamar? No, like Kendrick, no, not like Kendrick Lamar. Just Kendrick. My parents found my name in a baby book and they hadn't heard it before and they're like, oh, that's cute, so that's what they named me. And then another question was, what would your parents name you if you were a different gender? They've told me before that they would have named me Caleb with a K. My parents waited until I came out to find out if I was a girl or a boy, so they didn't know, so I was a surprise and they chose Kendrick. Because I'm a girl. So the next question is, what has been your favorite basketball moment? I have two good basketball moments that were probably my favorite. The first one was when I was a freshman in high school. Our team made it to state and won. And so I got moved up like during Christmas break and I was on scout team. So basically I just ran the other team's offenses and defenses with the help of a few other girls, and so we were just like basically helping them prepare for their opponents and stuff. And so I actually got to play in one playoff game that year. There's 3 freshmen that got moved up and we went in for like 54 seconds and we were so scared, but it was a lot of fun. And then we won state that year. And so I got a medal and all that. So that was fun to just like be a part of the team and be like their cheerleader on the bench and stuff. And then another favorite basketball moment I have is last year my team made it to the Final Four of our national tournament. And during our run, I can't remember what round it was. It wasn't the game, obviously it wasn't the game we lost because we won this game. But during the tournament, we played the #1 team in the nation and we won. And it was so fun. Like, just the game was just like really intense and we played really hard. And it was just so fun to beat the #1 team because, you know, it's always fun to be the underdog and win. And one of my favorite pictures that I have of like basketball is me and my best friend Deb. There's like a picture of us from that game and something, I don't know, it's up there, that's why I'm looking. I think a good play just happened and it was like one of those plays where like we made a score and like that was it, like we knew we were going to win the game at that point. And so it's luckily my back is like to the camera so you can't see my face, but I'm like going like woo, and then Deborah, she's going like yeah, like with her fists and stuff. We're like looking at each other and like in the background you can see the other girl. Let me just show you the picture because it's really cute. Okay, so here's the picture. I'm screaming. The girl in the background in the left, or you know, number 3, she's like looking up at the scoreboard like crap, we just lost. And me and Deb are just like cheering. So yeah, that was my favorite basketball moment. If you're in sports, you know there's just those games where the atmosphere is just so fun, and so that was one of those. Okay, so the next question is favorite musician. Guys, Taylor Swift. I love her so much. Literally, she's gotten me through a lot. I just love Taylor Swift. I can jam out to her no matter what mood I'm in, all the time, every day. And I just love everything about Taylor Swift. She's my favorite. My favorite color is pink. That's the next question. Anything pink, it's a yes from me. My favorite time of day. Okay. If my dad's watching this, he's going to say I'm lying, but it's the truth and it's changed. I've grown, so I'm different now. Okay, Dad? Anyway, but my favorite time of day is, I'm gonna say the morning. Here's the thing. I don't like waking up, and I'm not like a morning person. Like, I'm not like bubbly and happy in the morning, but I like the morning time because it's just quiet and calm, and you get to drink coffee and just like enjoy like the newness of a new day, and I just love that. And then by the time it's nighttime, I'm tired and I'm ready for bed, and it's probably been a long day, so I don't really like nighttime. And then during the day, it's just average. But mornings are just calm and peaceful and coffee filled, so I like mornings. That's my favorite time of day. The next question is, how have you seen God working in your life this year? Okay, so I've seen God work in my life a lot this year. This has probably been one of the most spiritual years I've had, like just like growth-wise. So I kind of struggled at the beginning of the year, like knowing what I wanted to do with my life and like what my like purpose was and stuff. I still don't know what my purpose is and what I'm doing with my life, but I was just like, as far as like school goes, like I didn't know what to do and I didn't know what I wanted to do and stuff like that. And so that was like a lot of stress and anxiety that I was putting on myself for no reason, but that's just where I was at. And so I prayed a lot about like what I need to do and stuff like that. And during that time, I just like spent a lot of time with God, and just like trying to grow in my relationship with Him and see like what He was like. And I just spent a lot of time with God and in prayer and stuff like that. And so I grew a lot during that time, just like leaning on Him and finding comfort in Him and stuff. And then what I was going to say about that is I ended up transferring schools, which was a big like stress. But like the story behind like why I transferred and stuff and how I transferred and the school that I'm at now is really cool. So if you ever want to hear that story, let me know. But God was so relevant and evident in everything about like the whole transfer process, and it's really cool just how it all worked out like perfectly and how prayers were answered and stuff. And so I was going to say earlier, like to piggyback off of that growth period, is I also learned that prayer is powerful. And so with prayer, like a lot of times I would pray and want something to happen the next day or how I wanted it to happen and stuff like that. And I learned that like with prayer, you can accomplish anything and anything can happen, but it may not always be exactly when and how you want it to happen. But it is powerful, and if you put faith behind your prayer, like it's gonna happen. So a lot of times I was just kind of praying like with my fingers crossed, like hopefully like that would be cool, God, like if you give this to me, like please, 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 fingers crossed, like this will happen, whatever. And I learned like I don't need to pray with my fingers crossed, I need to pray with faith, and faith is what's gonna ultimately get that prayer to happen and stuff like that. And like I said, like with prayer, you can't always ask for certain things. Sometimes it's a heart change that you need, and it's not necessarily like a thing that you need. And then another thing I learned, or that God has like been doing in my life, is showing me that He can be with you like wherever you're at. So I saw this thing that someone tried one time, and she said that she was feeling kind of like distant from God and stuff. And so one night all her friends had gone out or whatever, and for whatever reason she couldn't do whatever they were doing. And so she was at home and she was cooking dinner, and she was like, man, I'm sad, like I don't get to be with my friends, like I'm here alone, like God feels distant, like I'm just gonna try it and spend a night with like God and spending time with Him and stuff. And so what she did was she cooked dinner and she sat down and had dinner with God, and she basically like invited Him, like, you know, to come and talk to her, and she just like spent time praying and like asking Him stuff and talking to Him like as He were a friend, as if He were a friend, because He is our friend. And I know that sounds crazy, and maybe like if you're not a believer, like you might be like, this person's crazy, she's making dinner and talking to herself. But like if you are a believer, it's really powerful, and I encourage you to try it, because I did try it and actually, when I tried it, it was in the summer, and I was tanning in my backyard. And so I was all alone and just like in nature and stuff. And so I was like, I had just read a Christian book, and I was still struggling with some of like what I was gonna do with my life and transferring and all that stress and stuff. And so I was like, God, like I just want to spend time with you. And so I prayed and like got my mind right and asked him to come like just hang out with me while I tanned. And I would like ask him questions, and like immediately thoughts would come into my mind that would answer that question, and they were like godly thoughts and godly answers. And sometimes it would be scripture that answered the question, or it would just be like a calming like voice in my head. And it may sound crazy, but I mean, I really felt like God was there and was talking to me and like just speaking, using the Holy Spirit to speak through me and like implement not voices, okay, that sounds bad, implement like thoughts that had to do with the situation that were like just calming and peaceful, because God is Prince of Peace and he's here to calm us and carry our burdens and stuff. And so that's exactly what he was doing in that time for me. And like I would cry because like he was just so like, he was there. Like I know that I was talking to him, and it was just like a really cool experience for me. So I definitely recommend. Sorry, my nose is really stopped up. But if you're feeling like distant from God or anything like that, just like find a quiet place and where you're completely alone, and just invite him to come and talk to you and speak through you, and then listen. Like I had to just like be quiet, and luckily for me, like God just answered me instantly, because he knew that's what I needed at that time, was just like reassurance and calming and just some scriptures, and it was just really cool. So just spend some time with God, and like I said earlier, he can meet you wherever you're at. Like I was tanning in my backyard. I wasn't at church. I wasn't on some mission trip across the globe, and that's not where I found God. I found him in my backyard. So if you're driving down the road, or you're in the middle of your class and you just need him, like ask him to like come be there, and he'll be there, and he's awesome. If you don't have God in your life, I'm sorry, because he's just so great. And the last thing, I wrote these down because I didn't want to forget, but another thing that I've seen God doing in my life is he's like changing my heart on a lot of things, like some like unholy things, or like just bad decisions and stuff like that just aren't appealing to me, and like I don't want to do that. And like, yes, I have made mistakes, and no, I'm not perfect, and yes, I do get tempted sometimes, but like it's just, I want to please God so badly that if I do fall into temptation, I feel terrible. And then also like some of those things that are like godly or that aren't godly, I just like have no desire to do. And like I've been asking for God to intervene and change my heart on a lot of things, and it's just been cool because I've seen like gossip go out of my life, and just like other temptations and like evil things have kind of like cleared out of my mind, and I don't want anything to do with it. And so like it's been cool to see that. And even little things, like the other day I was walking and I dropped my gum wrapper, and like I felt so guilty. Like I started to just keep walking, but I felt too guilty because I was like, man, like this is God's earth, like that's not honoring to God to leave that trash there. And so like I picked it up like pretty much right away. And like a lot of people I know, they just will like drop trash or do something small like that and not really think about it. But now it's becoming something that I think about, and I'm like, man, like that's not honoring to God, so I don't want to do it. And so that's been cool. Like obviously I do struggle with a lot of things a lot of the time, and I'm not perfect by any means, but I'm starting to notice things like that God's like really like intervening in my heart and just like making me aware of things that are important and aren't important, and things that he would rather me do than ignore and stuff like that. And so that's been cool just to see him work in my life in that way. So yeah, God works in mysterious and many, many ways, and I could go on and on about all the things that he's taught me this year, but those are just some of my favorites. That prayer is powerful. God can meet you wherever you're at. It can be in your backyard, at your dinner table, in school, in your room, in church, like wherever. He's not limited to a certain space or a certain time, like any time of day, any place, he's there with you. So that's been cool. And then, okay, so the next question I have is your favorite city and why. I would say my favorite, like, big city is probably Chicago. We went there I think twice for my travel team for basketball, and I just love the city, and I love the pizza. The pizza in Chicago is so good. I love pizza anyways, but the ones in Chicago is just, so good. They have this place called Giordano's, something like that, I don't know, but it's so good. And they have this thing where you can, like, order it online and they'll ship it to you. And so for my birthday, my dad got me 2 pizzas from there, and they were still just as good as they were in Chicago. So I love Chicago. I love, like, the skyline and just, like, all the things that you can do in Chicago and stuff. Ow, sorry, I can't sit crisscrossed very long. Okay, so the next question is your favorite Starbucks drink. Definitely white chocolate mocha. If it's hot outside, iced. And sometimes when it's cold outside, I still like it iced. But if it's cold outside and I want something warm, a white chocolate mocha. And if it's like this time of year, like December, like Christmassy time, I like the peppermint mocha or the peppermint white chocolate mocha. So good. Next question is, what do you do when you're sad and you want to feel better? Okay, so if I'm sad about, like, a boy or a relationship that's gone wrong or something like that, or mad at a boy, I will definitely listen to Taylor Swift and cry and scream and just jam out. I think that's why I like Taylor Swift so much, is because when I'm sad, I listen to her and just jam, and it makes me feel better. You know, sometimes you just gotta, like, cry and yell and get it out, and you feel so much better after. And so Taylor Swift is definitely my go-to girl for that. Also, if I'm just, like, you know, sometimes you get in those moods where you're just, like, sad and gloomy and you don't know why. So if I'm in that kind of mood, like sad mood, then I'll put on some worship music and doodle or, like, draw. I like to do, like, calligraphy and flowers and just, like, doodle Bible verses and stuff like that. So I will do that when I'm sad, and that always helps me feel better because it's like a creative outlet where I can just, like, think about God and think about my doodling instead of whatever's making me sad, and just kind of, like, release that emotion. And then another thing that I do when I'm sad is watch chick flicks and eat ice cream or pizza. It doesn't always make me feel better, but I like to do it when I'm sad. But yeah, definitely Taylor Swift, worship music / doodling, and chick flicks. Okay, so the next question was, who's your favorite cousin? I don't have a favorite cousin because I love them all so much. So on my dad's side, I'm the oldest, and we just got a new baby boy cousin, and he's really cute, but I haven't met him yet, so hoping to meet him this Christmas. And then I have a baby girl cousin. She's 2, and she's the sweetest, cutest little thing ever. I love her so much. And then we have a baby boy cousin who's 3, and he is so sweet, and he's so funny, and he just smiles so big, and I love him so much. He's so sweet. And then I have Cameron, who asked this question. Cameron, I love you so much. She's a lot like me. We're, like, built the same. We have the same, like, she's kind of a little bit more quiet and reserved. and she's good at like art, and so we kind of have that in common. And she just thinks a lot like I do, and she's funny. She's really funny sometimes. And Cameron, I just love you so much. And then I have another cousin, Addie, and she is awesome because she actually gives me advice a lot, which is kind of weird, but like I'll talk to her about like school and stuff and whatever, and she'll give me advice, and so it's kind of fun. She's only 12, which is like cool because it's like advice from just a kid, and sometimes that's the best advice because they're so like carefree and just like optimistic and stuff. And so I just like talking to her, and she's like really into like makeup and beauty and stuff, and so she gives me tips on like face wash and stuff like that. And she actually has a YouTube, and she's into all of that kind of stuff, so I like her a lot too. I love her a lot, actually. And then on my mom's side, I'm one of the youngest. Not the cousin that's younger than me is only like 6 months younger than me. We don't talk that much. He's a boy. He lives in Iowa. And then I have 3 older girl cousins, and y'all, they're beautiful. They're so pretty. I'm definitely the Duff of the group. They're so gorgeous, like so photogenic, perfect hair, perfect teeth. They're just so pretty. And I love them a lot too. When we were younger, we used to go to our grandparents' house over the summer and just like hang out on the lake and stuff, and that was always fun, and that was like the highlight of my year every year growing up. So definitely love them. So I wouldn't say I have a favorite cousin, but I love all of them. Like, I've been blessed with some great cousins. And then the next question I have is, how do you do your messy buns? I love them. So I guess I'll show you. Thank you, by the way. You know, sometimes they turn out good and sometimes they don't. So, right now I'm using a scrunchie. I love scrunchie buns because they seem to be messier. Okay, so all I do is just put it up like I'm about to do a ponytail, and then loop, and there you have it. And then I just kind of pull and loosen it until it's how I like it. The messier the better. That's my philosophy. There we go. And then the last one is not a question, but somebody wrote, I can perform I butchered that. They wrote, I can't perform miracles, but I have enough bread and fish for 2. So, you know who you are about that one. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video, getting to know me a little bit. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.